Arashimasu, hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Try from Japan, and today we are looking at another Japanese LaserDisc release. So this is a Japanese LaserDisc box set of 3 movies called the Yokai Fuin Beiko set. So yokai is a terminology that was used in Japan to describe weird or strange creatures or spirits, and so this particular set comprises of 3 movies which were released in the late 1960s, all written by the same person, and all incorporate yokai in some aspect. So before we have a look at the set itself, let me tell you a little bit about each of the features that are included in this in turn. All 3 of these movies included in this box set are written by Japanese screenwriter Tetsuro Yoshida. He was most well known for being the writer of the popular film series Akado Suzunasake, a series of 9 films centered around a young swordsman who finds himself battling demonic creatures. This interest in mythical creatures inspired his first feature centered around these yokai, called Yokai Hyaku Monogatari. Also known as 100 Monsters in the West, it was released in 1968 by Daiei Film, and is known as a tokusatsu film, which is a term for films featuring extensive use of practical special effects. The plot of the film centers around a rich landowner who intends to tear down a local shrine to build a brothel. He holds a ceremony to try and influence the local villagers, in which he tells tales of yokai. However, he fails to perform a purification ceremony at the end, and so the spirits of the yokai are released and take vengeance on the landowner and his supporters. Although it's hard to imagine the film actually features 100 yokai, there are plenty of very creative creatures used in the film, most of which are puppets or costumes, and these practical effects make it a very memorable film by the end of its climax. Yokai Daisensu, known as Spook Warfare, was also released in 1968. In this second film, the yokai are the protagonists, as when a demon spirit takes the body of a samurai lord, it's the yokai who must fight to rid the lord of the demon's curse. Some of the yokai from the first film make a reappearance, with a few new creatures added to the roster for another fun fantasy film. The third and final film, which came in 1969, is called Tokaido Obake Doshu, known as Along with Ghosts in the West. This one doesn't focus on the yokai as much, sadly, but is still a great tale. Set in feudal Japan, young 7-year-old Miro has found evidence that could stop the corruption in her town, but soon she finds that not only her life is in danger, but those of her family as well. When her grandfather is murdered on sacred ground, the yokai are summoned and seek out the people responsible. Okay, so now we all know a little bit about the movies that are included in this set. Let's have a look at the box itself. So you've already seen the front cover, because when we started the video that's what we were looking at. And you can see these beautiful hand-drawn images of some of the yokai from that first film, 100 Monsters. On the front itself you have on the spine itself, should I say, you have the title of the LaserDisc box, Yokai Fuin Beiko. Nothing else on the sides, and on the reverse of the lid it is blank. And inside the set I have kept the obi strip, which was on the top of the box when it was sealed, and this tells you about the features of the LaserDiscs itself and what's included in the set. So it tells you that it includes all 3 of the movies, and then the extras that are included in those. So there is a trailer at the end of each of the features, which is the original Japanese trailer for each of the films, and then the separate little inclusions that are in the box, which we'll look at in turn. And flipping over the OB, there's a purchase and enter prize draw. So once you purchase this LaserDisc, you could send off this OB as proof of purchase and be entered into a prize draw, where there was a number of prizes that could have been won, and they're mainly promotional items to do with the films themselves, mainly little plastic figurines, or a nice little set there with an actual little opening parasol of the parasol character which would be great to have seen. I wonder if anyone did enter this prize draw and if they won any of these prizes, and again, if they still have them. It would be interesting to speak to someone who might have entered the prize draw and won one of these items. So the actual films themselves are all included in a separate little wallets, I guess you would call them. Obviously inside you have the film itself, which is just a single double-sided LaserDisc, and then you have the chapter tracks for each of the sides, comprising of separate segments within the film itself, much like you get on a DVD or a Blu-ray that you're all probably familiar with. And then again, each of the films is included in a separate little wallet with the title of the film on each. And then we get to the interesting extra bits that come with your box set. So this one is my favourite piece, so I will show you that last. So in here we have the first of the items, and this is a behind the scenes promo booklet of the set. And it basically is a little behind the scenes bit, so commentary from the director, some promotional shots and bios on the characters, and then images of the costumes or puppets and the name that was given to each of the yokai. Pages and pages of lovely artwork, nice little close-ups that you just don't really get to see in great detail when you're watching the film itself, so it's nice to have a look at these in a full page. Then some more promo information, some more promo shots of the film itself, and then we have some reviews on the films taken from Japanese newspapers. We have some storyboarding, and we have some film reel cases when it was released in cinema, and a description of the way that the film would be spliced together. Some more lovely behind the scenes shots, including them holding the neck of the long-necked lady. Some nice black and white concept art, some more of the yokai that obviously was provided when the model makers made the creatures themselves, and then some promo artwork which was used in the advertising and leafleting, shall we say, not leafleting. Some more blurb that was taken from newspapers around the release, some lobby cards that were given out in the cinemas, again with some promotional artwork on there. And yeah, it's a very nice little comprised booklet showing you promotional stuff that was released, figures that were released at the time of the yokai themselves. If anyone has any of these, then that's a great little bit of history that you have, because I'm sure these are like gold dust to find now. I can't imagine many of them are still kicking around. And yeah, CD releases, VHS releases, soundtrack, LP releases, CD-ROM even, whatever that may be. That's interesting in itself. So yeah, a nice little booklet comprising all of the stuff surrounding the Sorry about that. Dangers of filming this in the daytime is that your postman comes and rings your doorbell and interrupts your recording. So where were we? So we're going on to the second piece of promotional items that were included in the set. So this is a reprint on card of a anaglyph 3D item that was released as a bit of promotional merchandise. So an anaglyph 3D, if you've not heard of it, is the old red and green 3D which they used to use on well, they did a lot of movie releases where you had to wear the red and green 3D glasses, and it gave a 3D impression to the eyes, giving more depth to obviously what you were viewing on screen. And so with this particular, there's an instruction leaflet in here as well on how to put this together. And yes, you need to have a bit of acetate or some clear plastic, which you then colour green and red and put the lenses in these glasses. You put them into the character itself, and then when you look through him and put these characters in front of him, it gives them a 3D aspect when you're looking at each of the characters in turn. So yeah, just a little fun little promo item that was released at the time that they've reprinted for you to make yourself. What else have we got in here then? So we have this little promotional advert for the third film, and it tells you that the video is on sale on the 8th of the 8th. So this was letting you know that that was being released on VHS at the time, and if you flip it over to the back, it tells you about other films that were released as well, if you wanted to track those down. And then well, I was going to say the final thing, but I forgot that I've put this to the side for us. So we have a reprint of a manga that was released which tied in with the third film, The Along with Ghosts. And yeah, a very nice little edited version of the film in manga format. Very nicely illustrated. And then on the back we've got some images from the film, and then an advert for action figures released on the Daimajin figure, I believe that is. So Daimajin was one of the giant, in along the same vein as Godzilla and King Kong and Mothra, all of those giant monster features that they had at the time. But Daimajin was a statue that came to life, and he was basically a protector, and he protected from the incoming crazy creatures. And then, as I said, I kept my favourite bit of the box set to show you last. So this is printed on silk paper, and it is if I hold it the right way up, it's a beautiful hand-drawn poster for the first film. Let me just zoom out slightly so you can see it in full frame. Now, the only problem I have with this is that obviously, because it was included in this box set, and this box set is not rectangular, it is square, it's had to be folded in the middle to be put into the box set itself. So unfortunately, your lovely silk poster has to have a permanent crease across it, which is slightly frustrating. But if you could find a frame and mount it beautifully within the frame, it may take that out of the equation. But it's a really nice little silk print of an original piece of artwork. And yeah, I just love the imagery. This is, as I said, probably my favourite bit of this LaserDisc box set. I hope you agree with me, but that's some very fun little extras to include with what is really a standard release of the 3 movies. I believe that Arrow Video may have done a Blu-ray release featuring all 3 of these a couple of years ago, which is probably still available if you look on Amazon or one of your local I was going to say VHS, DVD, Blu-ray shops. You will potentially still find it, and that will probably have the Japanese audio with English captions, which obviously this Japanese LaserDisc does not contain any English subs, so this is just the original mono Japanese audio. So if you did want to enjoy these with English captions, you would have to get that release. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done already. And as always, I only have one last thing to say, and that is arigatou gozaimasu, and I shall see you on the next video.